got a lot to talk about. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to a brand new Marvel Rivals update video, and we've got a slew of news to talk about today. There's definitely some bad news, but there's also plenty of good news, and we'll break it all down. Now, of course, guys, don't forget to go on ahead and smash that thumbs up button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Let's aim for that 1,000 like goal. Hopefully, we can hit that goal. And with that in mind, let's dive on in. So let's kick things off with some bad news for all of you Black Panther mains. Now, it's not all bad, so fear not. But, of course, with tonight's item shop refresh, we were all expecting to get 2 skins in the shop. That was the Steampunk Iron Man skin that we've already seen before during the beta and alpha of the game. And it was a brand new Black Panther skin titled Black Panther Thrice, and it was going to be the Cursed King bundle. Well, as of right now, apparently that skin is on hold. We don't have an update on when it will actually be dropping instead of tonight. So it could be as early as, let's say, next week, where it will debut along with maybe another skin, because usually it seems like they drop 2 cosmetics together. So that certainly seems to be the common pattern. Now, it's not all bad news for all of you Black Panther fans who were maybe looking forward to buying the skin tonight with the shop refresh, because we did get the MVP screen for this one. That looks absolutely freaking sick. I think that turned out really cool. And I think when this skin launches, it will be a big hit with Black Panther mains. Of course, as I implied, we will indeed be getting 2 cosmetics with the latest item shop refresh. And once again, yet another character that was available during the beta, the Steampunk Iron Man. Yes, indeed, will be debuting along with Spider-Punk 2099. But once again, 2 of the most beloved and iconic looking skins from the beta and alpha of Marvel Rivals will be available for purchase with the latest shop refresh, which is pretty freaking exciting, because we're getting to that point now where a lot of those skins from the beta and alpha that were available during the beta and alpha are now available in the main game, which means that there's a lot of exciting skins for us to look forward to in the future that will be, I guess, less spoilery, because, well, we won't even know what they are. So that is definitely pretty exciting. But cosmetics is not the only thing that we get to talk about, because the folks over at PC Gamer got to talk to both the executive producer as well as the game director for Marvel Rivals, and as part of those interviews during GDC, they dropped a bunch of interesting and exciting information. So let's break it all down. We're going to start with the interview with the game director, where we learned the following. Saying the content for season 2 is ready and set to go. The designs for season 3 and 4 have also been completed and are currently under intensive development. Overall, everything is progressing smoothly. So for those of you that didn't believe the rumors that season 2 might already be done, well, now you hear it literally from the game director of the game saying, yes, season 2 is completely done. All the content for it is already complete and is ready to go. In fact, season 3 and 4 is already designed and is being developed as we speak, and things are going very smoothly on that front as well, which means that the foreseeable future of Marvel Rivals is pretty freaking exciting. Another thing that was very exciting as part of this interview was the fact that he went ahead and talked about the future of team-ups, how they will go ahead and approach team-ups, saying that starting with season number 2, they will finally begin to introduce brand new team-ups. That means that some of the existing team-ups that we have might be removed outright from the game, they might be tweaked, and we might get brand new team-ups happening within the existing roster of characters. Because, of course, I understand that people know that when we get a new character, like when we're going to get Blade, for example, he's probably going to have some team-up moves. So naturally, it's like, yeah, of course they're going to introduce new team-ups when new characters get introduced. But what he said during this interview with PC Gamer is that even existing characters that currently are already in the game and have their set of team-ups will be possibly getting a change up, which I think is pretty freaking cool. It basically means that there is a possibility of brand new team ups being introduced into the game to give it that little bit of extra flair, and it's an interesting way to change up the composition of the current, I guess, typical teams that we see by giving us maybe new team ups to use so that people are more incentivized to try out some of the less popular characters, because by playing those less popular characters, they would gain access to these brand new team ups, which I never even thought about the fact that essentially Marvel Rivals can come up almost with a brand new meta for the game without actually changing the heroes in any way, shape, or form, except for introducing new team ups. It's really quite clever, the utilization of the team ups to go ahead and change up how the game plays, not gameplay, game plays, will actually be a really interesting aspect of the future of Marvel Rivals. Now, we also got to learn some interesting things from the executive producer of Marvel Games, Danny Koo, because he also did an interview with PC Gamer at GDC where they talked about several interesting things when it comes to the future of the game. The first of which I'd like to cover here is the fact that he mentions that roughly around 70% of the current roster composition of Marvel Rivals consists of what he refers to himself as the greatest hits. They are kind of like the well-known heroes, characters like Iron Man or Captain America. But they also pride themselves on adding these kind of more curveball style characters where they make the roster seem a little bit more unique and original by including characters like Luna Snow or Jeff the Land Shark. And so he was actually discussing the fact that going into the future, that is exactly the same level of approach that they want to continue. Meaning that we are going to get the big characters. So like a character, let's say like Deadpool, is probably coming to the game soon. However, at the same time, they will spruce in other characters like Angela, for example, who's not a very well-known character, in order to throw in some curveballs, but also keep the roster fresh and unique. And I think that that is definitely the right balance, especially if they keep that ratio the same, meaning that for every, let's say, 10 characters that we have in the game, if 7 of them are iconic major characters, you know, like the X-Men characters, or Spider-related characters, or Spider-Man-related characters. And then, of course, every now and then they'll throw in a curveball and throw in a character that is maybe brand new, or a character that we don't know a whole lot about. I think that will be a really great balance of a 70 to 30% ratio. So that is definitely an exciting confirmation there that the roster is going to continue to build out in a very, very epic manner, but also keep things fresh. Another thing that Danny Koo went ahead and shared as part of this interview is the actual process of how they decide to add a character into the game, which is a really cool insight. And here's what he said. He says that essentially what we do is whenever we have a character, we'll come up with a character background in terms of who they are and the comic references that appear in what they do. We'll then take that, hand it over to the design team. They'll come up with some ideas, and then we'll essentially come up with a baseline that is agreed upon in terms of theory and actual gameplay execution. Then, when they feel good about that, they put that hero into production. Of course, from there, it then actually goes into the hands of the marketing team, who works on how the heck are we going to introduce this character within our own Marvel Rivals storyline. And then, in addition to that, they also work with an actual comic historian who will verify and try to make sure that it all makes sense, which I really appreciate. As someone who reads a lot of comics, I really do appreciate that they take that extra step to try to make it make sense within the context of the Marvel universe as a whole, and make sure that they are authentic to what makes these characters so beloved in their original medium of the comic books, which I think is very cool to hear as well. Now, this is probably the least exciting part, especially if you're a Red Hulk fan, because during this interview, he said the following, specifically talking about the future of possibly a character like the Red Hulk being added. He said, but as we focus on making sure that characters are distinct from each other, for example, Hulk and Red Hulk roughly have the same silhouette, so we may not want to do that one. Which of course got a lot of people kind of bummed out, especially if you're a Red Hulk fan, because essentially he can kind of, to a certain extent, confirm here that they will not be doing Red Hulk as a playable character. Now, the one thing I will also say, he didn't say that we might not get a Red Hulk skin, so for those of you that are Red Hulk fans, you can still get Red Hulk in the game as simply a skin. So that is definitely still a possibility in the future, at least in my opinion. I don't think that this confirms that we will not be getting a Red Hulk skin. I think that it basically just confirms that within the playable characters, the heroes themselves, they don't want to have a lot of what are called echo characters, where essentially it's pretty much the exact same character with just a different look or a skin. So they want to try to make sure that the characters that they introduce are unique and each and every single one of them stands on their own distinctly, so that there's not too much comparison, or I guess too much of a similarity between the characters where they all start to kind of blend together and none of them feel unique. So I feel like that's a fair argument, especially considering that this game is still in its early stages. The roster pool is still relatively small, and so as they grow the roster pool, they want to try to maintain that uniqueness between each and every single one of our heroes and villain. I also did want to take a moment to just acknowledge how epic Marvel Rivals is about addressing things and being quick about fixing things. Like, I genuinely think that we as gamers oftentimes criticize developers, sometimes deservedly so, sometimes undeservedly so, but I just also think that we should also acknowledge when they do a great job. And here, Marvel Rivals definitely knocked it out of the park. There was a bug that basically rendered the arachno mines on Penny Parker useless, where they weren't indestructible and they weren't invisible while still in her webs. They went ahead and fixed this particular issue in just about 9 to 10 hours after acknowledging that it has happened. I think that's so freaking cool that they were on it so quickly. They were able to fix it, addressed it almost immediately. I think that's just a really cool kind of tip of the cap moment to the developers. Now, before we get into the next official and exciting story for Marvel Rivals, I did also want to take a quick moment and acknowledge this really cool animation. Yes, this one was done by Joel. I love how talented the Marvel Rivals community is. We've got so many awesome fan concepts and creations coming together all the time, and this Deadpool intro screen is absolutely freaking epic. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the final piece that we need to talk about is an exciting one, because Marvel Rivals Ignite has been officially announced by Marvel themselves. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is, it is going to be a brand new comic book one-shot storyline that will be arriving in June. Yes, I will purchase it. Yes, I will read it. And yes, I will go ahead and have a complete breakdown for you guys. In fact, I'm planning to order a couple of extra copies to do a giveaway. If you'd like to see that, smash that thumbs up button on today's video. And with this particular comic book, excitingly so, they went ahead and dropped the comic book covers. Now, if you look at these comic book covers, first of all, they are obviously brilliantly illustrated by the lovely Peach Momoko, who's one of the most popular, definitely cover artists in the comic book industry today. But even more excitingly so is paying attention to the covers themselves, because you'll acknowledge that there are some original looking skins in these covers. I mean, we have this incredible looking Punisher, which as a Punisher main, sign me the heck up. I am 100% going to go ahead and purchase that. That Samurai Punisher would be 100% a no-brainer. There's a really cool looking Hela skin. There's a Luna Snow skin, and there's a brand new Penny Parker skin as well. I mean, wow, what an absolutely epic lineup we have to look forward to. Now, I also did see some people say, oh, what is going on here? Like, why are people saying that just because these new covers appear here, or these new suits appear here, they're not actually going to be included in the game? How could you possibly go ahead and interpret that? Well, I'm going to just read this paragraph from Marvel.com, and you tell me how you're going to interpret that. In Marvel Rivals Ignite #1, Momoko's, which is of course Peach Momoko, new wave of in-game costumes. Let me repeat that one more time. In-game costumes take center stage in a trio of stories by Momoko and fellow Japanese comic creators Yuji Kaku and Mitsuyasu Sakai and Ryusei Yamada. I hope I said that correctly. If I mispronounced it, I apologize. A breathtaking spotlight of the artistic talent presented in black and white, with each chapter showcasing a different third color. So again, that right there, pretty much with that paragraph alone, the fact that they say new wave of in-game costumes, I feel like essentially confirms that these are indeed going to be costumes that will appear in the game itself, which is pretty freaking exciting. We essentially have these comic book covers confirming some upcoming looks that we can expect for some of our favorite heroes in Marvel Rivals. So there you have it, guys. A huge news update video covering everything that has happened in the Marvel Rivals world over the last week or so. Of course, if you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like. These videos do take a while to put together. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I will hopefully catch you guys here on the next one. Peace out. I'll see y'all later. Alligators.